Mustangs fans. Josh Rubin here with the latest edition of Around the Stable. This is the training camp edition, I guess you could say. And joined with me this episode is General Manager Blake Ortman. I guess I could say my new boss too, right?
I wouldn't go that far, but I guess we can say that.
I was gonna say, yeah, if we got to do that, then I might have to straighten up a little bit. So, but Blake, making a transition from the head coaching role last season to manager role this season. We'll get into that here momentarily. First things first, kind of a cool off-season start for you. Our season with the Mustangs ended, and you transitioned into an assistant role with the Peoria Rivermen and kind of walk us through that, like with the NA3 season ending and you transitioning over and helping John Guy Trudell there. And then we'll talk about the magic that ensued after that.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people don't know this, but the last 2 years I've actually been on the ice with the Rivermen every day for practice, and stuff. And then obviously games here and there throughout the season, whenever we have an off weekend or whatever it lined up. But more so, not this past season, but the season before, I was on the bench probably for more than half the games. And then obviously when our season ended, I was there every single day on the road and everything throughout the rest of the season and into the playoffs. So I got to live through the whole bus breaking down on the side of the road, being stuck there. I actually spent my birthday in the playoffs 2 years ago with the Rivermen, on the side of the road while we were stranded. And it seemed like I ended up getting all the long trips too. They had all those saved up for me when our season ended. But then, yeah, last year, obviously a little bit different coaching by myself. Couldn't miss anything, obviously, with the Mustangs, any team events, any workouts, anything like that. So, wasn't overly involved on the bench as much until the end of the season, but I was still there for practice every day, involved in all the meetings and video and all that kind of stuff. So, just a behind the scenes kind of guy, just kind of like I like it, especially with the big club like Guy do his thing and Levy, and just get to keep learning every day. And yeah, I know it's fun to be around those guys.
And now we'll get into, kind of the magical part of it is the playoff run that the Rivermen had. Kind of, you always want to say like a playoff run is historic and there's magic involved in a playoff run. Anytime you win a championship and get to hoist a trophy, that's pretty dang cool in my opinion. But the Rivermen starting with Pensacola and then Evansville, sweeping those series, and then insert the Huntsville Havoc. And I don't know, I can speak personally from my experience. That's a series like I watched very closely and kind of took personal because my first season with the Rivermen, Huntsville won game 3 in Peoria. That's a sour feeling, but kind of walk us through that. The Rivermen losing game 1 by a 3-2 final down in Huntsville, Alabama, but coming back and winning the next two at home. What was that kind of that situation like for you?
It was a little different because obviously we have home ice and stuff. So for me, starting my new job and stuff, I couldn't go on the road, and I actually for the first playoff series with Pensacola, Mitch McPherson, who made his comeback towards the end there of the season. Me and him were on just on the ice every day while he was here because he couldn't travel either with his job. So we were on the ice every day, and then we'd watch the games together. We'd wear our playoff shirts and all that. So it was a little different, but um, you know, I was I was pacing all over the place watching that game, and the heart rate, my watch, I had to take it off because it was telling me to breathe and calm down a little bit. You would have thought I get it higher during that game than I did during my workouts and stuff, but no, I honestly I was a little nervous just because we hadn't really lost yet in the playoffs, obviously, and in those 3 game series, anything can happen, and it's crazy because you do have to start on the road as the home team. But um, I was a little nervous until I got the phone calls and stuff after guys like Hags and Ernie and Mitch, obviously, and then a call from Guy, and they weren't at all shooken up, and it was just a part of their process. And they all said that we weren't going to go undefeated through the playoffs. It's very unlikely, so they think that might have been the best case scenario for them. And then especially coming home, I mean, we didn't lose one game all year, and I think we lost maybe one. I think one out of whatever at home this year. So they were feeling pretty confident, and obviously game 2 is do or die, and I think that puts them back on their heels when we steal that game, and now it's anybody's game, and we're feeling good going into game 3, and they're kind of a little bit nervous. So No, it was a really cool experience, and yeah, there was never any hesitation or any nerves for those guys. They were all just thought it was part of their process, so it was good to see their mindsets were in the right place.
And the Rivermen winning that game 3 against Huntsville 5-1. I mean, convincing win. Two great teams playing, but that third game, when you started getting that sense that victory was in grasp, how do you keep your demeanor calm on the bench and just kind of go with the flow and not watch that clock tick down?
Well, for me, it should have been easy because I was the middle guy, so I was more in charge of like line matches and just kind of keeping guys going on the bench, talking to guys here and there, just so Guillen can focus on the bench more and not have to worry about having a conversation about what a guy did wrong in a shift. That was more my role. So for me, it was a little bit easier to stay calm, but it's funny because in those games you never think it's over. We were up, I think, 4-1 with like 3 minutes left, and I was still like heart rate was going through the roof and trying to keep guys calm. And then I looked over and Guy came over and gave me a hug, and he's like, "We're champs, buddy. We did it." So that's when I kind of relaxed a little bit and then just enjoyed that last 2 minutes on the bench. It's something I've never got to be a part of. I've lost two championships as a player with the Mustangs, and yeah, it was special for sure. And just getting to see those guys, they put in all this work all year. Certain guys, battle through injuries and stuff. We had a guy break his leg, comes back from that, plays. You got Jordan Ernst is playing through an ankle and a knee. He's getting shot up before games. Hags is playing with a bad knee. He had to get ankle surgery after the season. Drafts, guys like that are just playing through injuries. So just to see it all kind of come together and to be at home was even more special. I think, the front office staff with Bart and all those guys did such a great job. They didn't have one ticket sold after before game 2 for game 3, and we had a great crowd in game 2. They had plenty of time to prepare for that one, and they did a great job. And then just the turnaround for them to be able to fill that building again was incredible. And just to see all the people that I've been seeing since I was 5 years old going to those games that are celebrating. They got people crying and you get to celebrate with them is probably one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of in my life.
And one last thing about that before we move on. As you know, I'm a guy that I can appreciate a good superstition or something to keep a streak alive. I mean, you and I did it my first year in the booth with the Mustangs with the interviews, and I think it was 16 straight undefeated in regulation.
Yeah.
But you told me today, and I had no clue until you sent me this via text message, that you wore the same suit for 11 straight wins or something.
Yeah, it was funny because the year before, I was obviously on the bench a lot more, so the suits were getting changed a lot. But then I was kind of just picking and choosing my spots whenever I was free this year. And then obviously when our season ended, I was on the bench for every game except for a few road games. And yeah, I wore the same suit, and you know how I am. I have to do it. So I was doing it, and then all of a sudden, Guy and Levy started to notice, and it kind of just reminded me of the year before. Me and Guy, we were on a heater going into the playoffs, and we were on a heater in the playoffs. And me and Guy had these suits, and we lost game 1 in Roanoke, a game that we should have won, but penalties and stuff like that get in the way. And we were like, you know what, this isn't a bad thing because my suit smells so bad. And we were happy to change it. And then this year was getting to the same thing. I was like, man, I gotta get this suit dry cleaned. Like, and then yeah, it worked out where I got the suit. I saved the suit. I had to throw away the tie. It was ruined from the champagne and cigars and all that stuff. But I got to save the suit. I got it dry cleaned. I had to do it twice. They said they had no clue what I did to the suit because I just plopped it in there on Sunday morning after we won, and it was all wet and everything. So yeah, no, the suit was 11-0. I think no one talks about that, but Hag's got the MVP, but 11-0 in a suit. I don't know. It's pretty lucky, I think.
And I said, and you and I have talked about this before, like with our pregame interview spots, and it's like, who would have thought a trash can could bring so much luck to a homestand and you win games? I mean, if it works, it works, right? I mean, that's my opinion anyway.
Exactly, exactly. We got weird brains in our minds. That's the only reason we're winning. It's not anything to do but with what's going on with us. So no, I
Yeah.
had to stick with it, and I was definitely happy to turn that thing into the dry cleaner, and it was a little bit sweeter, especially with the champagne and everything on it. So it was nice.
I bet it was. Congratulations on that President's Cup championship behind the bench with the Peoria Rivermen. Now on to some Mustangs business here. Camp ever so close, drawing close, a little over 24 hours until camp opens. Let's talk about this transition though. Last year, the year prior, you were behind the bench with your dad, Steve Ortman. Last year, you fully took the reins, transitioning out of a coaching role into a general manager's role now. Kind of explain like what your day to day, week to week, game to game operations are as a general manager at the junior hockey level.
Yeah, I mean, as far as obviously finishing the year on the bench, the off season didn't change too much because we hadn't hired anyone for a bit there, and I was still doing my normal thing, recruiting and all that stuff, had the draft and everything like that. So that was pretty normal. The off season didn't feel like too different or anything. Um, I'm sure it'll feel a lot more different once the season starts and all that kind of stuff, but no, it's pretty typical, just like a normal coach. And I mean, realistically, I was the GM last year too, so it's just you get to focus more on that kind of stuff. Take a little bit more time when you're doing like your organizing and all that stuff of your players, and you have to reach out to more agents and stuff because with you having just that title, I think a lot of people will call our coaches now, but they want to talk to me before they make any decisions and stuff like that. So for me, it's been more just kind of getting used to that, having to talk to a lot more people and making bigger decisions. Where last year, if I was the GM, but I did have to run everything through our owners and everything. But I think Guy's kind of given me full reins and trusts me and knows that I know what I'm doing. So it's just more getting used to the decision making and making sure it's the right decision instead of having to bounce it off him. And then obviously once we kind of get going here, it's going to be more kind of guiding these guys because they're both young in their coaching careers and haven't coached at this level yet. So it'll be kind of guiding them and helping with whatever they need help with. And this summer has just been more helping them with how to talk to players and where to go to watch players and who to talk to and getting them in contact with advisors and other coaches and other leagues and stuff like that. So it's been more of an easier transition, but like I said, it's going to get a little bit different here once the season starts.
And looking at junior hockey as a whole, I mean, it's not just about the game, it's about, developing young men in that. And, I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of work that goes into it, whether you're coaching, assistant coaching, whatever. And when you and I had originally talked about it, I think it was what in May or June, and you're still going to be a hands-on guy. You're still going to be a fixture at the Owen Center and working with these young men. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am, and as much as possible, obviously, the job that I got, it kind of comes first. Obviously, if it's a good enough job to pull me away from coaching, which is what I wanted to do, you have to kind of put that as a priority. But whenever I can, we have days where you can get out earlier and stuff. I'd love to keep jumping on the ice and even be more in a role this year where I can just talk to players and stuff on the ice while they run practice, or if they want me to run practice, I have no problem doing that too. But I haven't really been in a position the last 2 years to we do a great job of building relationships, but being more like personable with the players and kind of just understanding what they're going through and stuff like that. Where when you're in that head job, your job is to manage the whole team, and you don't really have time to have an individual meeting with every single player and kind of know what they're going through, what their life's like outside of the rink, like their billet life and all that kind of stuff. Just so I think that'll be kind of cool for me. That was something I got to do a lot while I was in El Paso in the NA, and then the year before when I was here as an assistant, I got to do that a lot more, which was good because I still talk to all those players that we had in Peoria or the COVID year, and then I still have players from our El Paso teams reaching out to me, and it's not really. I mean, I don't blame them. I've had head coaches before, and you don't always go out of your way to reach out to them. They're more reaching out to the assistants. So I'm not getting an enormous amount of texts from guys and stuff that I coached as a head coach. There's times where you have to draw that line and you have to be kind of the hardo and get on them a little bit. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. So obviously it makes it a little bit tougher to have guys reach out with stuff to see how you're doing or whatever. So I've been trying to do that more myself, especially with the guys we had last year.
So training camp coming up and popping up on the screen right now is going to be the itinerary for training camp, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're available, come on out. We'd love to have you out at the Owen Center, kind of check out the on ice product. If you got to quench your hockey thirst, perfect time to do it. But, with training camp coming up, what's going to be your primary function through training camp and kind of evaluating guys and kind of seeing how things are going and getting with the staff, coaching staff as a whole to construct a team?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty much the same for me. I mean, I'm still gonna be watching and being a majority part of picking the team, and especially because a lot of these kids that we have coming in are guys that I did recruit last year before we made any hires or anything like that. So I'm more familiar with these guys and their families and stuff like that. So it's going to be, the same thing, just evaluating the games. It might be different for me. I usually sit up in the stands. If the coaches want to sit up in the stands, I have no problem going on the bench. Um, but yeah, it's going to be about the same, and then obviously still having your normal meetings, making your cuts and all that kind of stuff. Meeting the families and everything is something that I'll get to do a little bit more this weekend. I get to just do a little bit more talking to everyone instead of my brain going 100 miles an hour spinning all weekend, just trying to figure out how to put the puzzle together and what we're missing and what I need to do. And then that'll be something that I do as well as is kind of see where we're at as a team and see what kind of moves I need to make as a GM and see if I need to bring some players in, move on with some guys, and that's all going to be done this weekend. So we'll see. I'm excited for the weekend.
And along with you, I'm excited for the weekend. I'm just excited to smell the fresh rink air and kind of get in there and kind of just see things and hear some blades hit the ice and pucks smash the glass. But kind of looking past hockey operations and coaching and the game, coming into this year, you and I've like discussed it and bounced ideas back and forth. We're gonna, we want to involve the fans, right? Because I mean, that's a primary reason why we are where we are. We're gonna do some trivia contests on Facebook and social media platforms for free tickets. But looking at other things, in the past we've done like the Alzheimer's awareness weekends. Is that stuff we're gonna keep doing through this season and beyond, or do we have other things in the pot that we kind of want to tease now?
For us, the Alzheimer's thing I think is going to stay. It's not like a lot of teams do these big weekends and specialty jerseys and stuff, and they're big money grabs, which you can't blame them. It's a business at the end of the day. But for us, the Alzheimer's game hits home a little bit more, especially with me and my family. So we're excited every year just to see. It's kind of like a little competition with us to see how much money we can raise and be able to donate to the Alzheimer's Fund here in Peoria that we found and that my family's been working with since my grandmother passed. And so yeah, we're definitely going to do that. We talk a lot about different kind of specialty jerseys, and it's hard because you do with the jersey companies in our league, you do have to order quite a bit early. So just sitting down, and we're gonna have to plan that out. But we do kind of want to do at least one more specialty jersey. We've been talking about possibly a military night, a pink in the rink night, just some things like that. Especially the pink in the rink is one that we can donate, and we have a lot of military stuff here in Peoria that if we get the jersey proceeds, we can donate. And that's what's so cool with working with the Mustangs is our owners aren't in it to get rich and make money. They tend to not make money usually. They just try to break even on the year, and they let us do things like the Jersey nights where you get to donate money and raise money for good things. And I think last year we did a great job with our team getting them back out in the community and at schools and at Children's Hospital and food pantries and all that stuff. So it's cool to do kind of some more stuff like that. And obviously I know you have a lot of ideas for our game day stuff. So I'm excited to get those going and actually be able to be a part of them a little bit more instead of focusing so much on the bench and everything. I get to hopefully maybe sit with you a couple games next year and watch the game from that perspective and see how all of our ideas come together with our giveaways and stuff like that.
Well, we might. I'm gonna guess if you and I are up in the old wood box there at the Owen Center, if things get kind of good on the ice, we might be able to bring that sucker down. Us guys up there. I mean, I sometimes get rowdy in there just from pure excitement. I've only fallen out once, but hey, that's gonna happen. And yeah, that is one thing. When you and I bounce the ideas, we got a trivia coming out this week in support of training camp. And I think we even talked about maybe doing one or two more for the home opener, kind of maybe get people inside the door that wouldn't normally come to a home opener, the casual fan, something like that. But, and looking through content, one of our prime channels of promoting the on ice product is social media because I mean, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, that stuff is, comes at no charge to us, which in junior hockey, that's a pot of gold in itself. But we'll stick with the game day preview like we've always done. And then again, yeah, we might bounce some ideas off. So Mustangs fans always stay tuned because you never know what we're going to drum up and what we're going to come up with and anything like that. But Blake, before we part ways here, is there anything that you want to tell Mustangs fans out there and kind of see if we can't pack that barn for the home opener?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for this year. For for me, it's a little bit bitter not being on the bench, especially after last year. You know, you obviously like a little redemption after a big rebuilding year, and we're going to be young again this year, and we got a lot of local talent. We had a great group of kids come through our program that I think they're finally ready to make the next step, and this weekend will be a big weekend for them because I think there's a few of them that can. It's just going to depend on how their weekend goes and we have a couple kids from the Pekin organization and the Bloomington organization that have grown as well that we've had our eyes on for a few years. And obviously, Guy being so involved with youth hockey for so long has got to see those kids for a long time. So we've been kind of excited for this little group of players to come through. So I'm happy and really excited to see how they get everything going this weekend. So I'm excited and definitely a little nervous about it, but I'm ready to watch the game from a different perspective this year and try. I'm gonna have to give a couple games before I jump with you in the box just to see how my emotions do during those games. I don't want to be yelling anything in the mic, so I'll give a couple games there. But no, I'm excited and just ready to get the season going here.
And Mustangs fans, that is Mustangs General Manager Blake Ortman. Blake, thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Josh. Always a pleasure.
Mustangs fans, don't forget, follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we do put a lot of stuff on YouTube. But hope to see you out at the Owen Center this weekend for Mustangs training camp. And as always, at home opener September 13th at the Owen Center. Wausau Cyclones in town. Puck scheduled to hit the ice 6 o'clock on that home opener. Until then, for Blake Ortman and the Peoria Mustangs, I'm Josh Redmond. This was Around the Stable.